Alright, so what's going on, you guys? I've been meaning to do this video for the past few days, but I was sick for a while and then I just didn't have the time. But we're gonna be talking about Anita Sarkeesian. I've talked about her in the past. I have one video where I kind of give my thoughts, I believe just my general thoughts about her agenda and how I didn't really, agree with it. Still don't. I still see that she's kind of capitalizing on this agenda and it's keeping her relevant. Obviously us making videos keep her, being relevant, but whether I make this video or not, she's gonna have people defending her. She's gonna have people believing the things that she says. So I wanted to give my 2 cents again because this time she's talking about Zelda. And you guys know I love this game. I know what it's about. And she's flat out lying about certain things. And she's not really giving the whole truth. Let's put it that way. She's not giving the whole truth, as usual. And, Anita, we had about 5 seconds of friendship at E3. This was in 2015. I got a picture with her. I told her, I was like, Anita, you have to stop it. This didn't really happen, but I wish I had more time to talk to her. I've always wanted to engage in a conversation with her about this type of stuff. I would love to interview her if it were possible, or just not even that. It could be in private. Just, I would love to just talk to her and kind of give her my point of view as a woman. But, I was whispering in her ear. I was like, Anita, you have to stop it. But she's not. She's not stopping it. Here we are again with her tweeting out some ideas she has about Zelda, Breath of the Wild. Okay, so here is the original tweets. I don't want to misspeak on anything or say anything out of context. I'm just going to read them. This is how she starts off the conversation. She says, "The slew of perfect scores Breath of the Wild received from critics shows that most still don't give a damn about how women are represented in games." So here we go. Freaking Anita at it again. She goes on to say, "Through the memories players can collect, Breath of the Wild acknowledges the ongoing problem of Zelda being damseled but doesn't do anything about it." So I'm already shaking my head, rolling my eyes already, but she keeps on going. She says, "Critics might call out sexism in games with bad gameplay, but often act as if it's not worth mentioning when the gameplay is great. It is. There is so much to admire in Breath of the Wild. Its gameplay is incredible, but that absolutely doesn't excuse its use of tired, sexist plot devices." So, man, this Nintendo gamer's going in. So I'm sure, there's people in here agreeing, disagreeing. We're not going to go through that. This damseled conspiracy, or whatever you want to call it, it's not even accurate. Like, if you really look up the definition, I believe she keeps using this term, and it's really getting old. That's not what's going on here. Even if she wants to hang on to this word and say that Zelda is the damsel in distress, it's not even true. I've played Zelda. I know the story. I've heard it from many people who have beat the game, how it plays out. I've already had it spoiled pretty much. Not a big deal, because when it comes to Zelda and its stories, they all pretty much have the same idea as far as Link being the hero and Zelda helping. Zelda actually fights in this. She actually does something. She's not just in some tower somewhere locked away and thinking to herself like, oh, I hope my prince saves me. There's nothing going on like that, okay? She is waiting for Link to regain his strength, to make his way to Ganon, because she's holding Ganon there. So that way they can all battle it out and they could, bring peace to Hyrule and get this done. She's waiting for Link. And they're going to work together. This kind of happened in Ocarina of Time. She used her powers to hold Ganon, and for Link to, get the last attack on him and everything. I remember that. I remember that so clearly. I remember escaping with Zelda and feeling like we were a team. I was saving her, But at the same time, she was saving me. You know what I mean? She was saving Link. And I always had that understanding about it, even when I was younger. So, you know, when it comes to the overall story, yes, we can think of it in the way of like, yeah, Link is helping her. He's helping Hyrule. He's helping, you know, everybody. He's the underdog. He's the little guy that's going up against this freaking monster, or however he's portrayed, of Ganon. He's going up against the odds, and Zelda's very much a part of it. So whether Anita has played this game or not, she's not understanding that, and she's picking and pulling out things that help her agenda of this, you know, of women being portrayed as the damsel in distresses, when that's not really happening. It happens sometimes, possibly, yeah, I'm sure you can make arguments for different games and whatever, and she's done plenty of that. Her agenda has been this has been her I think her series on YouTube, right? She's talked about this many times. And you know, she's trying to do it here. And I'm not going to just sit back and be like, "Oh, well, you know, Anita, she's got a point there." No, she's really reaching with this one. And as a woman, I've always felt like, you know, my opinion of Anita needs to be shared. I feel like a lot of us women share this opinion that, you know, there's plenty of things to be upset about in the world when it comes to women not being treated fairly, especially in different countries. I'm a sociology major, so obviously I am in tune with the social issues and injustices of the world. I know plenty of that. And so when it comes to video games and these very, in my opinion, trivial things, these stories that are essentially, in the end, they're just stories when it comes to games. I don't think of it in the way like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how women are being portrayed right now. Like, I'm so offended. I could never be like that. Unless the video game is straight up calling me names and telling me I'm you know, the second class of the world or whatever. And unless it's flat out telling me women are terrible, I'm not going to have any kind of reaction like that. And yes, I like Zelda. Zelda is one of my favorite franchises. So I'm not saying like, oh, it's just because it's Zelda. It could be any game. Okay, I feel like this across the board. I'm not going to get offended over a princess being stuck somewhere and I have to save her. Like, I never have that reaction of like, oh, look at the women being weaklings again. Like, I never think that. I just think of it as, this is a story. I'm playing a game. It's a fantasy. And it is what it is. You know what I mean? I never, even when I was a kid, I can't imagine thinking that as a kid growing up, thinking like that women weren't being portrayed right. And it made me feel a certain kind of way, like I was weak. I never felt like that. To me, it's always just been stories, fantasies, and that's that, you know? So I think at the end of the day, when it comes to these things, when it comes to the Anitas of the world and the people who support her and put down people like me for not thinking this way or whatever it is, for trying to be white knights and trying to create drama where it's not supposed to be, and they're trying to pull in these social injustices into entertainment. When it comes to this stuff, sometimes I get annoyed with it even being talked about or even being acknowledged at all, because it makes me feel like these people in some way believe this is how it is, that in some way they believe that women are weaker. It's kind of the same thing with the Colin Moriarty thing, where he said that joke, which was straight up a joke to me. It didn't offend me one bit. It's just a dumb joke. Peace and quiet because, you know, women aren't working or whatever. I forgot the hashtag. This is a whole other topic I can make a video about as well, but it's kind of in the same thought process, you know, as this one. I have the same idea about it, is that when people bring attention to this, when people get angry about these things, I kind of think of it in the way of, if the shoe fits, the truth hurts. You know, I kind of think of it in that way. And I'm not saying it's true that, it's peace and quiet if there's not women around or something like that. What I'm saying is that when people get angry about jokes like this, or they get angry about women, you know, being portrayed as the princess to be saved or the weakest in the game or whatever, it makes me start to think that they believe that, or they are fighting against this idea because it's really real. You know what I mean? Because in my life, in my world, with my husband, my family, my friends, this is not really happening. We're all equal in my world. You know what I mean? I don't feel like I'm weaker, I'm weak-minded, or I'm sensitive, or it's going to be peace and quiet if I'm not there. I don't believe things like that. We're all equal in my mind. So when people are getting outraged about these jokes and these portrayals, or quote unquote portrayals, on video games and how women look in video games or how they're portrayed or whatever, it makes me think that they, to an extent, believe that, and it offends them because it's true. Does that make any sense? Like, it kind of brings it as a topic when it's not even a topic in my life. It's not even really there. So when I see people getting upset at Colin, and I see people getting upset at, this idea that Zelda is the damsel in distress, it makes me think that, damn, these people must feel like people believe this. They must be offended because they think it's the truth. Like, they think it's an insecurity that women really have. And then they fight to the defense of women, like, oh, this is wrong. And, the men, they even fight to the defense, like, oh, it's okay, women, I got you. I'm the white knight. And it's like, I hate it. I really hate it, because for one, we can speak for ourselves. And two, this isn't an issue. Like, you know what I mean? I think at the end of the day, this all makes me uncomfortable, and it makes me upset because it's not an issue, but these people are making it an issue. If that makes any sense. I hope I explained that really well. But yeah, that's pretty much my overall feelings when it comes to this stuff, because it's like, I don't think this stuff, like I said, when it comes to games and all of that, I'm not in there thinking like, okay, what can I get mad about today? Let me look at these women. What are they wearing? How are they portrayed? I'm never thinking that. I don't know. To me, it seems like an insecurity. To me, it seems like these people, they either are just bored and they have nothing else better to do, or they're like Anita. And, for her case in particular, she's just trying to be relevant. She's trying to keep up her agenda. She's trying to keep up her I guess, kind of self-victimization kind of thing, because that's kind of mixed in with this as well. She wants to be the victim. She constantly wants to make women the victims. And to me, that just bothers me, because I don't feel like a victim. And as a woman, I feel like I need to say this, I need to be outspoken about this. And I've wanted to tweet about it. I wanted to tweet her and stuff like that. But I was like, what, I'll make a video, kind of throw this out there and kind of see where you guys are at and where you're coming from. It's interesting to have these conversations from both men and women. I think we can all agree that, there's a sense of like outrage or fake outrage on the internet. And it's getting worse. I just feel like right now is a bad time for the internet, between the Colin Moriarty thing and this thing and any other thing. It's like daily. There's always something new where people are upset about something. And don't get me wrong, there's legit things to be upset about in the world. There's straight madness in the world. And I know about that, and I'm with you guys on that. But when it comes to these, just very, very trivial things and things that are not going to keep us up at night, it's like people are making it that way. They're making bigger issues out of nothing. And like I said, I don't know if it's because they're bored or they're just miserable or what, but the witch hunts and the going after people trying to ruin their livelihood over their opinions, that is bad right now. I've seen tons of it this week. I feel like this week was one of the worst, and I'm glad the week is over, but I just feel like it's going to keep getting worse and worse. And the people who agree with me on this and we're looking at bigger issues and worrying more about that, and we're worrying about our own lives and keeping everything where it should be instead of making things out of nothing. We got to come together, and we got to just spread positivity. We got to spread the message of, it's not, we don't always have to be mad. We don't always have to find something to be mad about. There's better things to do with our time. Life is short, you guys. But anyways, I'm getting off on a tangent. I'm going into like preach mode or something. I don't want to do that. I want to know your guys' ideas about this, your opinions on this. Let me know what you think about her tweets. It could be any video game, not just Zelda, but when she's picking at things that are not there, it bothers me. And it's like, why can't games just be games? Why can't stories just be stories? It doesn't have to connect to our lives. It doesn't have to connect to our politics or our agendas. Just play the freaking game. Anyways, you guys, I'm out of here. Thanks for listening, and I will catch you in my next video. Peace.